Okay, I think we should start now because it's not good to make the people wait who are on time.
Yeah, on your lead, Mr. Hanoi, yes.
Yeah. So, Xin Chao, good afternoon, namaskar to everyone. On behalf of InCham, I welcome you to yet another knowledge sharing session, courtesy our corporate member, the Viva Business Consultancy. So as we all know, this COVID has been devastating in many terms, including, affecting the immigration laws. And in terms of knowing what is our status, how we can travel to places, even after traveling, how we come back to Vietnam. So there are many new things which have started, and the whole thing that we know so far as normal has become totally abnormal. So to know what is the new normal, we are pleased to, have our corporate member, Viva Business Consultancy, to give us an idea like what is the, may I request you, the people, to please put their mics on mute, please. Anybody not speaking, please put your mic on this, mute. Thank you. So yeah, so whatever was normal so far is absolutely no more normal. So to learn what is new normal in terms of immigration laws, what is the right way to enter when you leave the country, and what is the right way to leave, and what all you should prepare before you leave the country. To share all these questions, we have been, quite eager to know, like, what is the right thing to do. And fortunately, our Viva Business Consultancy has agreed to give us an insight into, what is the right way. So, I hope with today's session, we will get a lot of questions duly answered, and we know what is the right way. So as we know that, I would like to mention here that InCham is always willing to offer the platform to its members with an intention to benefit our members or even the members of the partner chambers on individual or B2B basis to connect with each other and get benefit. So this is purely an attempt to connect one of our members to reach out to the rest of our members and the members of our partner chambers to introduce and offer their services. So as a formality, I would also like to put a disclaimer that any idea or strategies discussed by our presenter, Viva Business Consultancy, should be undertaken by the participant based on their own knowledge, objectives, and needs. So InCham or its BOGs expressly disclaim any liability to any person who acts on the information, ideas, strategies that are discussed in this webinar. So please use your own jurisdiction. So with this, I hand over the session to, let me introduce the people from this Viva Consultancy who will be giving us an overview of what is the right thing in terms of immigration policies. So we have with us Mr. Than, or we call him Tim in English, who is the Business Development Manager of Viva Consultancy. And we have Mr. Fong, known as Paul also, who is the legal specialist. So I hand over the session to Mr. Than to give you an idea what all they're going to discuss and introduce his colleague also. So over to you, Mr. Than.
Thank you for your kind introduction, Mr. Hanoi. First of all, I'd like to thank InCham and all participants joining in today. And we hope that the information we provide today, I find it useful for you, for all participants and all the members of InCham. For the webinar today, we have divided into 3 parts. So first of all, I'm going to go briefly about the applicable immigration law and regulation for foreign experts coming in Vietnam. And secondly, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Paul to talk about the law and regulation updates in Vietnam. And then finally, I'm going to briefly talk about Viva Business Consulting, who we are and what we do. And then we move on to the Q&A section. I'm going to share the slide right now. So I'm going to jump straight into the required compliance procedure. We required compliance for expats in Vietnam. So for segment we're going to look at today are foreign employees. during this COVID period, there's a lot of hurdles, a lot of difficulties of every foreigner coming in Vietnam, and a lot of foreigners trying to understand who can enter in Vietnam. So today, I'm going to look at foreign employees who are eligible to enter Vietnam during COVID period. So first of all, I want to define how the Vietnamese government define foreign employees in Vietnam. In this case, I'm sorry, guys. We're going to fix the slide a little bit. So in this case, we have divided to 6 situations. So foreign employees in Vietnam are recognized when they're executing a labor contract, or that foreign employee working in the following position, including managers, CEOs, director, expert, or technical workers, or other positions, including internal reassignment. Internal reassignment where a parent company in a foreign country has a subsidiary company in Vietnam and have an existing foreign employee in a foreign country. They want to reassign into a subsidiary company in Vietnam. Next, we're looking at enforcing contract agreements. In this case, can be a service contract between foreign individuals to a legal entity or a company in Vietnam, or any other situation where a foreign employee working for non-governmental or international organization in Vietnam. So in this slide, I want to show you the full procedure for foreign employees who are every foreigners coming in Vietnam. So the first step is visa for foreigners coming in Vietnam. So with the current COVID ramification and impact, every foreigners coming in Vietnam, they have to go through 2 steps, and not everyone can come in. So the first step is applying for approval letter, and then secondly, entry visa or entry letter. So those 2 steps usually take around 30 to 35 working days. However, with the new outbreak situation, the processing time has been shortened. So after you enter Vietnam, if you intend to work in Vietnam, you have to apply a work permit to legally work in Vietnam. And then afterwards, you can apply for temporary residence card under your work permit to stay in Vietnam for a period of time. And other compliance procedure you want to outline here, including, if you work in Vietnam, you have to know the certain personal income tax regulation or other compulsory insurances. So in this slide, we want to define what is a visa. A visa in Vietnam is a paper issued by a Vietnamese government. Usually, a visa may be once a multiple entry. A visa can be issued with a hard copy or electronic. It can be a separate paper, or it can be attached on your passport. In this slide, we want to outline, we want to focus on the 4 top types of the visa. The first one, we'll look at the symbol DT. DT is stand for investment visa. Is issued to foreign investors that invest opening a company in Vietnam, and it's not valid less than 12 months. Sorry, what's wrong with this slide? Sorry, can you fix the slide, please? Yes, thank you. Yes. Symbol DT is no more than from 12 months to 10 years. Next symbol is LD, is stand for labor visa and does not exist 2 years. And next one, looking at the DN. DN is for business visa, and it does not exceed 12 months. So in this case, if you are a foreign individual, you are having a contract with a Vietnamese company in Vietnam, and that Vietnamese partner in Vietnam can sponsor you to come in Vietnam under DN type visa. And next one is looking at the DT. TT is the dependent visa. So if you are a foreign employee, a foreign expert who are currently working in Vietnam with the existing visa or TSC, you can sponsor your family, including your parents or your kids are below 18 years old. And finally, you're looking at the DL, which stands for tourist visa, which currently is not applicable during COVID outbreak globally. So as a foreign employee, once you apply, you have acquired a visa, entry visa, the next step when you come in, you will apply for work permit. And in this situation, certain foreign employees can apply for work permit. In this case, there's a 4 positions that are currently eligible for foreign employees to apply for. Firstly is manager, secondly is director, and thirdly is technical workers and also experts. So those are the titles who can apply for work permit. And work permits usually only issued to foreign employees where the Vietnamese government recognize them as foreign employees. And in this case, we have defined previously like who are currently or going to enter labor contract or having interim assignment also are recognized as foreign employee, or they are having a commercial or any contract with the Vietnamese partner in Vietnam. So for work permit, with the current regulations, I'm going to brief you a little bit some of the requirement or conditions for foreigners coming to Vietnam work legally. So first of all, they have to have health is fit for working for certain positions, and also they have a clean criminal record, and also they have to be approved by their local authority. So in this slide, we showed the work permit for 4 positions previously we have stated. So once you have acquired a work permit in Vietnam, you will moving on to application for a TRC, or temporary residence card. TRC will replace your existing short-term visa, and if you apply for a TAC, a labor TAC, it will be valid no more than 2 years. And in this slide, I want to show you who will be eligible to apply for a TRC. In this case, who are the directors, who are the owners of a company, or the share owners of the company, or you are the relatives of the expert or foreigners who are currently working and living in Vietnam with the existing TRC. TRC residence card validity may vary depending on what type of TRC are you holding. So the important point here I want to point out is the TRC expiration date is shorter than duration of your passport. An example, if your passport expired this December, your TRC, the expiration should be November or prior, 1 month shorter than December of 2021. And other TRC, the maximum period of TRC cannot go up to 10 years. Once you have established your presence and you've lived in Vietnam for a period of time, and you want to explore other options to stay in Vietnam for a longer period, you can apply for PRC or permanent residence card. Permanent residence card are usually issued to foreigners who already have an existing working history or have a legal resident or have a stable income in Vietnam, and they should be residing in Vietnam for 3 years. And other situations, including where a foreigner have married to a Vietnamese citizenship, and that Vietnamese wife or husband can sponsor the foreigner. As a foreign employee in Vietnam, I think it's very crucial to understand the labor code that currently applicable to every foreigners and local in Vietnam in order to mitigate and prevent any future risk in terms of labor foreign employment. So in this case, we have divided into 3 main pillars. First one is the relationship between the company and the employee. So it's very important to draft up clear and legitimate labor contract between employee and employer with the minimum required salary or terms in order to legally work in Vietnam. Secondly, insurances for employees are applied differently, so you have to understand what insurance are compulsory, what are not. Finally, you're looking at the tax. Tax in Vietnam, as you know, are progressive. Some of foreigners have global income, some of foreigners have only local income. You have to understand how to optimize your tax and what your tax rate is. In this, I want to show some of the compliance or the structural management for foreign employment relations for employer in Vietnam. In this case, if you're an employer and you have foreign employees in Vietnam, it's very important for you to store and to maintain your employee profile at your company at all the time. And you have to have a valid and proper labor contracts and other amendments. And you have to understand the wage minimum for local regulation and have a payroll structure and working time and vacation. So at Viva, we also provide the other secretarial service. Those services including opening bank accounts, payment, savings, or private banking, or as you know, since Vietnam joined WTO 2007, Vietnam has opened up the economy, and foreigners can enjoy the investment, can invest in Vietnam as foreign investors. They can purchase property or open a company as Vietnamese. So in this slide, I want to introduce you some of the secretarial service at Viva we also provide. Next, I would like to hand over to Paul to give you some updates on law and regulation from 2021.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Tim. I hope you guys, with some holistic reviews from Mr. Tim, I hope that our audience has acquired some knowledge about some compliance procedure in Vietnam. And luckily, we Vietnamese person and all over the world has put a lot of efforts to fight against our COVID-19, the COVID coronavirus. And the government of Vietnam has tried to ease a lot of paperwork, to reduce a lot of paperwork, to attract more the foreign worker and foreign investor to invest in Vietnam, and hope that the investor will stay back here and try to attract a newcomers into Vietnam so far and in the futures. So what about the employee employment and about the foreign workers, now we will have a lot of things to be concerned about. But in this slide and in my presentations, I will discuss with you and share with you some important factors that have that is the most influence factors that you should keep in mind when working in Vietnam. First of all, I would like to talk about the labor contracts for the foreigners. So the labor contract is the contractual agreement that set the relationship between the foreigners, the employees, and the employer. The employees, the foreign employee, in the employer in Vietnam. The condition and precedent to work in Vietnam. Please help me to remember 5 things. First one is you need to be a foreign nationals that be in more than 18 years old or older and have full civil capacities. You need to have the good educational qualifications and in a good health condition and stay in a good health conditions to be qualified for the job, for the positions that you apply for in Vietnam. So the job we open for the foreigner here is quite restricted to 4 kind of positions that the team had told you guys. The first thing is the first position is the managers. The second is security positions. The third one is the expert positions, and the 5th is the technical workers. This is for 4 positions that the Vietnam government opened to recruit the foreign employees to work in Vietnam in the labor contracts. Third of all, please remember that you have to provide the state authorities in your application for the work permit the criminal record certificate, or we normally call it is the police clearance check. That's justifying you have no criminal records or in criminal legal proceeding overseas or in Vietnam. So if you are the first comer, the first time coming to Vietnam, so we will seek the police clearance check from the overseas countries. So and if you have already resigned Vietnam for a long time ago, so we can seek the police clearance check in Vietnam. And the most important things, please remember, before signing a labor contract with the employer in Vietnam, the employers, the companies or an organization in Vietnam must help you to seek to apply for the work permit in advance before you are eligible to sign the contract, unless you fall in the situations where you are exempted from the work permit. It means that you don't need to get a work permit. And if you are a newcomer here, the work permit will help you to get the entry visas and the temporary resident card to stay in Vietnam for a long time. Since 2021, the terms the labor contract here, we have a minor change on the type of labor contracts. In some previous years ago, some years ago, we have the 3 type labor contract, but since 2021, we only have two types. The first type labor contract is a definite term labor contracts, and the second one is we call the indefinite term labor contract. The differences between the definite term labor contract and indefinite term of labor contract is the term, the durations of the contracts. If you sign a definite term of the contracts, the maximum terms will last for 36 months. If you sign the indefinite term of labor contract, the duration of the contract will last for, will have no limitation of times. But we have some minor exceptions for the foreigners, because the maximum validity durations of the work permit that corresponding to the term of the labor contracts, but the term of work permit only have 2 years. We can be extended, or it can be extended, or it can be renewed. But the content term of labor contract must exactly synchronize is corresponding to the term of labor contract. So the maximum term of labor contract for the foreigners is is 2 years, one time you sign, and you can renew it many times later. I please keep in mind the languages of labor contract in Vietnam. The Vietnam's legislations and law do not stipulate require the languages of the languages of contract. But I highly recommend you and the employee and employer to sign the contract in bilingual language. It would mean that you should sign the contract in Vietnamese or in another foreign language like Indian as well. And in most situations, the Vietnamese persons will rebel in case of having any discrepancies between the two versions of contracts. And finally, in Vietnam territories, the most transactions are required to be conducted in Vietnamese dong in our national currencies, except some special cases like you are a foreigner, you and have contract, you transact with the banks or sign the agreement, the service agreement. But the foreign employees, the foreigners can receive the salaries, the bonuses or allowance in foreign currencies. You are allowed to open a Vietnamese dong bank account or a foreign currencies bank account in Vietnam to receive the salary. So in this slide, I would clarify some qualification and condition for each type of positions that I have told you before. That I have previously told you that there is 4 positions that Vietnamese government open to allow the employee to recruit the foreign employees to work for. The first position is the managers. They are the one who is the member of a company chairman, a member of a member council, a member of a board of directors of the company, or the company chairman, the director or the general directors, or we often call they are CEO, to work for any kind of person. That person that acting as a chef or deputy chef of an enterprise in Vietnam. That the companies, that organization and enterprise is established in accordance with the Vietnamese law. The second position is the executive. These persons are those who act as a chief or directly manage the dependent unit of the enterprise. For example, you can be the chief of the branch of the company in Vietnam, or a chief of a rep office of a representative office in Vietnam. The third position is an expert. The expert is the person who has the bachelor degree or higher and having at least 3 years of experience. That's relevant to the positions. Are you working for the employees in Vietnam? Or you are the persons who have at least 5 years of experience with practicing certificate. That's relevant to the position you will work for Vietnamese companies in Vietnam. The fourth position is the technical workers. This person is someone who has been trained in the technical measures for at least 1 year and has been working for that technical measures at least 3 years. Or you are the persons who have at least 5 years experience related to the position you will work in Vietnam. And before you are granted a work permit, your employees, the companies in Vietnam, need to have you to seek pre-approval letters from our state competent authorities for the position they are hiring for, and then they will have you to seek for the work permit. And the maximum duration of work permit is 2 years, and it can be flexibly extended and renewed with the more visible in the COVID-19 conditions at the moment. For example, if you are the foreign workers, you have been granted the work permit and you need to extend the work permit before the COVID-19 outbreak, our government often require the foreigners need to have the certificate of experience from the overseas company, But at the moment, the government only require you to use the previously issued work permit to prove that, to justify that you have been qualified for the work, but to extend the work permit durations. And then the condition precedent to work in Vietnam is you need to have the work permit, but in some special cases, the Vietnamese government allow you to be exempted from the work permit. And in these tables, I would like to present some common cases and common situations that we oftenly and mostly face when we advise to the customer, to our clients. The first scenario is the internal re-excisement. In 11 WTO committed services, Vietnam has joined WTO since 2007, and we have committed with the WTO organization some services, such as in business, information, constructions, distributions, education, environment, etc. that are on the tables. So if the overseas companies in this field have the commercial presence, for example, the parent company overseas have the subsidiary there, establish the subsidiary in Vietnam. So the employees can have an internal re-excisement from the parent company, fly into Vietnam for working in the subsidiary of your parent company in 11 WTO committed services. So in such cases, you will be exempted from the work permit. And another scenario is when you are foreigners and you are the investors or the member of our board of directors for a company that is established in accordance with Vietnamese law. And the amount of capital that you contribute to your investment in Vietnam is from 3 billion Vietnam dong or above. It's equivalent to the $128,000 US dollars. In this case, you also be exempted from the work permit. Another scenario is when some individuals, some personnel from the overseas companies who are in charge of establishing the commercial presence in Vietnam, like you appointed by the parent company to come to Vietnam to establish an company's representative office, a foreign branch, an operating office in Vietnam. So in this case, you also be exempted from the work permit as well. And finally, in our new laws, the foreigners who married the Vietnamese person and reside in Vietnam will also be exempted from the work permit as well. In this slide, and I would like to clarify the differences between the visas and the temporary resident card. The visa, Mr. Tim had told you, is introduced you some type of visas. We have the business visa, investment visa, working visa, and family visit visa. But the visa and the temporary resident card will be issued based on the visa that you has been granted before you enter into Vietnam. The differences between the visa and the temporary resident card is that the term, the duration of time that you are allowed to stay in Vietnam. And if you have been granted a temporary resident card, the time you can legally live in Vietnam and reside in Vietnam will be last longer than if you just have the visa. The temporary resident card can replace the visa as well. With the temporary resident, you can enter Vietnam. You can exit Vietnam multiple times, then enter multiple times. And you don't need to apply for another visa again. Please keep in mind some important things about the type of temp visa and temporary resident card correspondingly. So if you apply for the visa, business visa, EN1 and EN2, the maximum validity for this visa is up to 12 months. But this type of visa, but with this type of visa, you are not allowed to be granted the TRC card. And for the investment visa, if you apply for the visa DT1, DT2, DT3, you also be granted the temporary resident card correspondingly. But if you apply for the visa DT4, this is not you are not eligible to be granted a temporary resident card. And another type of visa, I see some of my clients apply for either family visa that when you're working here and your family, your relative in overseas country want to visit you, or you have your spouse who are the Vietnamese direct nationals and sponsor you to apply for the TT visa. So the term of temporary resident card in the symbol of TTs has the maximum validity for 3 years. So in the final slide, I would give you some note about the taxes and duty in Vietnam for the income that generated in the Vietnam territories. Any foreigners working here and have the income generated within the Vietnam territory will be subject to VAT, to the personal income tax. The differences between the key things here, you need to classify yourself whether you are the tax resident or tax non-resident. So what is the tax resident and what is the tax non-resident? A tax resident is the person who live in Vietnam for more from 183 days or above, and you have the stable residencies, stable house in Vietnam, and you have a house in Vietnam or have a rental residency in Vietnam. And a tax non-resident for the person who live less than 183 days. So if you are a tax resident, your income will be applied a progressive tax rate up to 35%. And if you are a tax non-resident, your income will be applied a flat rate of 20%. And furthermore, from the 1st January 2022, the foreign employees working in the labor contracts with the Vietnamese employers are required to contribute to our compulsory social and health insurance fund. So based on your salary in the labor contract, from 2022, your monthly salary will be charged 8% to contribute to the social insurance fund. So that's all my presentations. Thank you for listening. So later on, I will hand over to Mr. Tim.
Yeah, thank you, Paul, for your updates on law and regulations. Next slide. Can you next slide? Yeah. So I'll move next. I'm gonna briefly introduce you about Viva Business Consulting, what we are and who we are and what we do. Viva Business Consulting. Viva Business Consulting, we specialize in compliance procedure. Viva has been established since 2006. We have offices in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. At the moment, we have around 60 permanent staff, local staff. Our core segment, including foreign companies, foreign representative office that want to establish the presence in Vietnam and the business in Vietnam. Our core service, including business law, tax management, accounting, and employment relation, and other corporate services. In this slide, I wanted to show you some of our clients that we have been working together for many years, and we think that we want to looking at long-term partners and want to grow a sustainable business in Vietnam. So that's a wrap for our presentation today. Thank you for your time and to stay until the end. For today, next, we're going to move on the Q&A session. If you have any question, please input your question in the chat box. We can answer you right away. If your question is not answered today, you can send us your question directly to our email. We have a free consultation to any of your inquiries. For now, I will hand over to Mr. 𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗵 to lead the lead us the questions, and we answer it accordingly.
Yeah, so thank you, Tim. That was really wonderful and very informative. Like I have lived in Vietnam for now 21 years, but even after that long of stay, I could find many things that were absolutely new. So I hope the similar feeling will be there with our rest of the audience also.
Yeah.
So I guess, you have already received some questions from many of our members who wanted to get clarity on the issues that we have just discussed, including, I would also be very much interested to know this permanent resident card, which shows that as per your presentation that 3 years of stay make you eligible for a permanent resident card. So that way, I think there are myself and many of my friends in Vietnam would like to know that what is the benefit of getting this PRC and what are the conditions and how can we get it? Who are the most eligible person to get this permanent resident in Vietnam, the foreigners?
Right. Thank you, Mr. 𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗵. So I'm going to answer these questions and Mr. Paul can add something like that if you want to.
Great.
So first of all, PRC or permanent residence card currently issued to two main situations. The first one, either you married to Vietnamese citizenship. So in that case, you have like a Vietnamese wife in Vietnam and children.
Out of question.
Yes.
Next condition.
Yeah. So and the second one is where you are recognized by the local government that you have contributed to society, or you are like an outstanding expert that issued like you have contributed to Vietnamese economy or society. So once you have that recognition certificate by the local government, you can use that to apply for a permanent residence card. So why you want to apply for permanent? Permanent residence card is essentially 10 years long-term visa, multiple, and you can stay in Vietnam a long time. You can exit at any time. And when having a PRC, you will use like replace any other like short-term visa or TRC. Yeah. So that's a condition, some of the primary condition, but like the actual application step, when you satisfy the paperwork requirements, you have to personally go to the office to be interviewed by the local officers. So there's like first one is application step where you provide all the evidence of your documents. And the second step is interviewing at the local office. Yeah. Okay.
So one very, vague question, but I hope you may have a record or something like, so far, did any of the Indian guy, you might have worked with who got this PRC through your company?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
My question is like, so far, does any Indian person got this PRC through your company?
Unfortunately, no, not yet.
Okay.
Yes. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So let's see, like we'll try to start with one.
We have cases with like European, like other American.
Okay.
But most of our Asian clients are, like foreign
temporary
business, so they come here to work. So they usually go with TRC. Yeah.
Okay. I think now we give it to maybe like, so if you have some questions with you, it's fine. Otherwise, we can pick up the questions from the member who put it in the chat box.
Yeah. So you can go please ahead and you can ask us any question.
Okay. So I see, there is a question from Fiona. from 𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗁. She says that, hi everyone, I have a question on required document to apply for work permit for expert post. Can we have two choice to prepare document as below? The first option is like bachelor degree and 3-year experience in relevant position. And the second query is like having at least 5 years of experience with a practicing certificate relevant to the position.
Let me answer.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
So hello, Mr. Gilners. So yes, this is the two options for you. It does not mean that you need to qualify for both of these qualifications. You can choose one of them, one from two. So if you have the bachelor degree and 3-year experience in the relevant positions that you apply for, so just give in the applications your degrees and the certification, the certificate of experiences that from the overseas organizations.
So either of the two conditions.
You can choose one of them, one from two.
So essentially, if you have a bachelor degree and a 3-year experience, you apply those documents. And if you do not have a bachelor degree, but you have a practicing certificate, but you have to have at least 5-year working experience. But I think in this case, it's based on the old decree 152, where you apply for the new work permit. And I think you want to update on the new resolution 105.
Of course. So to reduce the paperwork for the foreign employees, foreign workers who has worked in Vietnam before the COVID-19 and in the COVID-19 outbreak, the Vietnamese government has issued resolutions 105 to reduce the paperwork, to reduce the condition of qualifications for the foreign workers who has been granted the work permit before. It means that previously the government often required a certificate of experience from the overseas country to justify, to prove that you are qualified for the job. But at the moment, and currently from the issuance of a resolution 105, you can use your previously issued work permit to justify, to demonstrate that you are eligible, you are qualified for the new work permit issuance.
Yes.
Okay. Then there is one question from New. So their question is that they have a company in Hanoi. Yeah. Company registration in Hanoi. Our managers are foreigners. They are living and working in Ho Chi Minh City in our subsidiary company in Ho Chi Minh City. So after getting the approval for work permit by Hanoi Dolisa, can we apply for PRC in Ho Chi Minh City since they are living in Ho Chi Minh City?
Let me answer your question. Yeah. Okay. Oh, hello, Ms. Nhung. Oh, thanks for your questions. So this is also the new regulatories in the resolution 105, as I've told you before. So in the new resolutions 105, that support the business, that support the enterprise and the foreign employees in Vietnam during the COVID-19 outbreak. The government here allow the foreign employees who has been granted for work permit in another province, in another province of Vietnam, and move to other province within Vietnam for 6 months. I mean that if you seek the work permit in Hanoi, and with the resolutions, with the application of resolution 105, you are allowed, the foreign employees allowed to move to Ho Chi Minh City for 6 months. And the practice here is that the procedure to apply for this to this right is that you need to have a notice, the letter of notice sent to the local department in Hanoi, the department of the law visa in Hanoi.
Okay. So that means if you have work permit from Hanoi, you can only work maximum 6 months in other province, or
yes, correct.
You need to change your work permit after 6 months.
Correct.
Okay, okay, great, great. That's very important input. And then there is one, they are asking for presentation. I don't know if it is allowed by your side. So if you can share, we will share with them. But will you be sharing your presentation for the members, like who want to get the details about it, like whatever you have discussed? Is it open to members?
Sorry, so you want to see the slides?
Yeah, some people want this presentation, you know, for them to refer later or something, you know, for the records or something. Can you share it, or it's not?
Yes, so we can share the slides later on.
Great,
yes.
lovely, lovely. And then there is another question from Josephine asking for to know if a foreigner who has a TRC and would like to travel out of Vietnam for home visit during COVID-19, can we re-enter Vietnam? And if yes, how to apply for re-enter? That means the TRC is still valid.
So for in this case, if you are a foreigner currently residing in Vietnam and you want to exit Vietnam and re-enter Vietnam, you have to follow the entry procedure as every foreigner entering Vietnam, even though you have a valid TRC or visa. So if you're exiting Vietnam right now, when you enter Vietnam, you have to go through 2 steps. The first step is getting approval entry letter at the People Committee. And it's usually processing time for this first step is usually 20-30 working days. But with the resolution 1055, we see that the processing time have been shorter. So now it takes 15 to 20 working days. And after you get the entry approval, you apply for the entry visa or entry letter. So this step is processing usually 7 to 10 working days. So even though if you have a valid TRC, you will have to go this process. And if you do not have a valid TRC, you'll have to be sponsored by a company in Vietnam.
Okay, so even after you have a valid TRC, you still have to get the entry permission as well as the entry visa.
Correct.
Okay, so TRC, what is the benefit of TRC then in this case?
So the problem here is they want to control the immigration, the borders, right? Everyone who come in has to prove that what are their purpose of entering Vietnam, right? So every time you come in Vietnam, you have to prove again that you're coming in. You have a sponsor by a company, and you have you're coming in because you want to work, or you're coming in because you have relatives here. So the process is you have to get the entry permits. Yeah.
So it's almost like getting a new visa again.
Yeah. So
even though you have TRC.
Yes, but it's usually if you get the entry visa, it's usually valid around 3 months. So when you enter Vietnam right now, you will have with the WHO standard, right? You have a 72-hour prior PRC test. And then you have a flight ticket, quarantine plan, and you will have to be quarantined at this authorized hotels. So quarantine duration will be from 7 to 14 days. So if you are fully vaccinated within 6 months, or you have been fully recovered within 6 months, you'll be quarantined for 7 days. And if you are not fully vaccinated, or you will be quarantined for 14 days.
Okay. But and again, this will be a new challenge. Like if 6 months have elapsed, if your vaccination is over 6 months, then what? Then 14 days quarantine, or will you be allowed still?
So at the moment, at the moment we do not see a lot of those kind of cases yet, but we have not seen or experienced actual cases. Most of our cases, they have been vaccinated for 2 or 3 months. And some countries like US or Canada, they already have 3rd shot, right? Pfizer. And very recently. So right now we do not have a clear instruction whether up to 6 months, but I think in terms of global injection rate, everyone wants to exit any country, they have to get fully vaccinated. Yeah.
Okay. And like there is one very typical question that is coming, I'm seeing from Indian people, So like they got this vaccine in India, which is yet to get the WHO approval. So when they come to Vietnam, so their vaccination, does it carry any meaning? Especially, like there are two cases. One is that one we have to enter. Secondly, one who have already entered Vietnam. So I think this is possibly beyond your scope, but now everywhere you go in the market, or any place you want to go, they want to see your green card.
Mhm.
Okay, so that means like the person who has got his vaccination outside Vietnam and cannot get the green card in Vietnam, how like what is the solution for them? Any idea? Any case you have heard?
So at the moment, there is a form of so if you are fully vaccinated in a foreign country, right, and you have a green card issued in a foreign country, and you're asking yourself whether I can use that green card in Vietnam, right? So right now, the Vietnamese government have a form for that vaccination. So if you fully vaccinated in a foreign country and you have a form or QR code on your app, we can instruct you or send you a form to fill in, and then you send it to the Vietnamese embassy. They get approved, and then you can use that as your green card.
Oh, that's awesome! That's a wonderful news. I think I think our listener would be like delighted to hear this, that they have an option, because as of now, to my experience, like there was no answer. But if you have an answer, that's a wonderful input for today's webinar. Great. Okay, so then there are a lot of questions, man. I don't know like how long will this continue.
Yeah, I think we have more time. Yeah, we have the time.
Okay. So the next question is from Danny Ngo. All the best for great business investment from India to Vietnam. I would like to connect with you all. Okay, I think that's another thing. It's not a real question. So can you share some examples of contribution to the society to obtain a permanent resident card? This is coming from Edmund Nguyen, I think. Edmund NG. Some examples to show that what contribution you need to do as a foreigner to be eligible to get an PRC.
So for
some
the
examples.
social contribution, yeah. So in this example, I can give you is, as long as you have the recognition certificate from the local authorities, you'll be fine. But in my experience, it's either you are scientist or expert that discovered any you have own any certain patent or any research, and then that research that benefit a lot to the Vietnamese society, or from that research can result in a lot of like economical benefits or drive. So those are things that I think in our experience is recognition. But as long as you have the recognition certificate, you'll be eligible to apply for PRC. But
so let me add in a little bit.
Okay.
So the conditions to apply for the PRC is beside that you have to prove that you have a financial stabilities and occupation job. I mean that the job stabilities in Vietnam, and you have a stable income generated within the Vietnam territories. This is the condition precedent to be granted the PRC permanent resident card. So in case which is the demonstrations to prove that you have contributed to the Vietnam societies, this is the one of the demonstrations. This here is that you are awarded state medals or any kind of the state honor award.
Okay.
Yeah, from Vietnamese government.
Okay, so that's a precondition. You need to have some special certificate or some reward from the Vietnam government to even look at this option. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
great.
Your contributions to the society of Vietnam really have the huge impact and recognized by the Vietnam state.
Correct.
So better way to
but there is no standard evaluation sheet or something which you can refer to see. So, and which is the department who decide this, that your contribution is valuable or not?
Sorry, can you repeat again?
I said that which department or which place can give you an idea, like whether your contribution justifies to get a PRC or not? Which office to tell you? Is it the same immigration department or some people committee office, or who to decide that your contribution is valuable for Vietnam or not, whatever you have done so far?
It can be any relevant, top. It can be Ministry of Finance or
Ministry of Science.
Ministry of Science or Ministry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think the important thing, the starting point is that you need to have some certification in hand to consider the
Yes,
option.
correct.
Correct. Okay, great, lovely. So now there is another Ngoc Nguyen. I think a lot of questions from Vietnamese people. That's very interesting to see. So I have a question regarding to expat working for two companies at the same time. She gets the work permit and TRC in first company. For the second company must apply work permit for that expat, but no need to apply for TRC again. Is there any law related to TRC issuance in this situation? That means work permit from the old company and TRC from the new company. No. I think the question is that she get work permit TRC in the first company. So second company, he must have a work permit, but can he use the same TRC from the old company?
Yes, the part of TRC is one TRC, but the work permit it apply for each shop for each type, each company. You need to apply for each work permit. That are corresponding to the companies. For example, if you work for the first company, you has been granted a work permit, and then you move to another companies. It means that you parallelly work together in the same time for the two companies. So you have to work permit in the same time.
But the TRC is legally valid. Is it legal to use the work permit of the resident permit of the old company for the new work?
So usually you should only have one valid TRC, right? Yeah.
So that this TRC should be changed as per the law, or they don't have any law explaining this situation, like you can live with the TRC with no just the work permit you need to change.
So I think it's a prior of timing. So for instance, if that employer working for company A in January, so they apply work permit and they should have a TSC around February or March already, right? So if that person, apply working at another company in May, they have to apply for work permit, right? But at that time, they shouldn't. If they have a valid TSC, they shouldn't apply for a new TSC. They should use the existing TSC.
They can use the existing TRC.
Yeah, they shouldn't be issuing a new TRC again.
They no need the new TRC.
Yes.
Okay. But are you sure it is reasonable valid, because the TRC will be having your name and address in the old company?
Yes, the things here that we just want one sponsors for your TRC in Vietnam. So if you have been, so if you if the
so no need to change TRC. That same TRC is valid, and you can live as long as the TRC is valid. And how about like if you lose the job, no job after that, but your resident permit is still valid?
So if you, in case if a foreign employee terminate labor agreement with the employer in Vietnam, they usually have agreement for how long they're gonna. So the employer will claim back the TSC, work permit in TSC, and then give the time to employer to extend the visa for 1 to 2 months or look for new jobs. And then after they have to the employer have to return the work permit in TSC to the local authorities, and the employer have to apply for new work permit and TSC under new employer.
Okay, so I think the onus is more on the previous employer to let you use the TRC and work permit or not.
Yes.
Okay, so when they take work permit back, they should ideally take the TRC back also.
Yes, correct.
Okay, great. So I think then there is one of our member who seems to be a little upset. He's our member of board of governor also. He's asking, like, nobody is talking about 105. They say it is there, but nobody is applying it. Registration 10, the regulation.
Yes. The resolution 105 is totally new. which has been just issued on September. They totally new to the Vietnamese legislations.
Yeah.
So the highlight for Resolution 105 issued in September 9th, I think is the work permit, replacing existing work permit as a working experience, right? So previously, if you have already worked in Vietnam and you have existing work permit and it's going to expire, you have to again prove that your qualification, your bachelor degree, but now you can use the existing work permit to prove that you have qualification to work in that position.
Great.
Yeah.
I think I feel, you know, like even I would like to add here that people need to have real patience in this situation, because COVID has brought many new things, and anything that was normal or common is no more common. So, and people are really trying their best, you know, to put up some regulation in the new scenario. So we need to give them time. Like, you know, I see there was so much of restlessness around the COVID app also. So eventually everything is turning to working fine. So we need to give some time to the government to put the new measures in place. So yeah, so I'm with you on this, that the attempt is good and it will take time to materialize. So now we move to the next question is from 𝗪𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 to everyone. Is there any particular category for software professionals, number one? And TRC card holders employee, can he/she change his employer during his stay in Vietnam? I think we have just taken this question, but still. And then third question from him is, what is the process for applying TRC after reaching in Vietnam with work permit and visa? Very simple questions, but anyway, I leave it to you.
I'm an expert.
So for IT professional, right, in this case, and I think it's you can either apply under expert position, or you can apply for technical position, expert position. So for IT, I think it's really depending on the qualification you have, and you can apply if you meet a certain condition for each position. You can apply for those positions. So for the third question, what is the process of applying TRC after reaching in Vietnam with work permit and visa? So usually you will have a work permit after you have work permit in order to apply for TRC. So I'm not sure that Mr. 𝗪𝗲𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 is currently in abroad, or he's in Vietnam. So usually I would say, like in our the structure today, right? First of all, entry visa, you have to come in first, and when you apply for work permit, you have to enter a labor agreement. So work permit, there's two steps. Two steps applying work permit. First step is where the employer will sponsor you and will register the demand to hire that employee. And then they will submit the documents to the DOLISA, Department of Labor, Invalid, and Social Affairs. So the first step is usually the longest. It usually takes 15 to 20 working days. And the second step for work permit is applying for actual work permit. So after you get a work permit for those things, you will be entering a labor agreement with the employer. And once you complete all those steps, you have the work permit, you'll be eligible to apply for a TSC. And the work permit usually, for every work permit, usually valid is 2 years. And the TSC, the expiration date should be the same with the work permit.
Okay, I think, yeah, so these are very normal. And then if you want more clarity on this, you can connect with Viva on a personal basis, and they will guide you all. So thank you, Fazil, for your questions. And then presentation, okay, same guy. I think there is some more questions from Ranjit, but I will skip that because they are asking about your charges and everything. So for those specific questions, I would recommend them to connect with you directly.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and please submit the presentation. I have one more question after going out of Vietnam. So Fiona is asking another question. After going out of Vietnam, then return, expat need not to apply for work permit or visa 3 months again. Even TRC is still valid. What should expat need to do when 3-month visa expire and TRC is still valid? Very good question.
Sorry, can you repeat the name of the person?
Fiona's her question is that after going out from Vietnam and then return, expect as you just mentioned, expat need to apply entry permit or visa for 3 months again, even though the TRC is still valid. Then what after 3 months? Like after they have been back for 3 months, then what? So the TRC will continue, or they have to again extend that visa?
So first of all, like the entry, who can enter Vietnam right now? So first of all, we have to understand who can enter Vietnam in COVID, right? So in this case, for a professional who going to work in Vietnam. So in this case, they already have an offer with the employer in Vietnam, and then they're gonna enter labor contract. And when that foreign employee want to enter Vietnam, they should be sponsored by a company. So that company is the employer. So in this case, when they come in Vietnam, they have 3 months visa. After that, after the quarantine, they will start the procedure to apply for work permit and TRC. And Mr. Paul, want to add something?
Okay, let me. So okay. I would like that into from the question of Ms. Fiona. So during COVID-19, even though the Vietnamese government trying to recover the economies, try to recover the business, but the Vietnamese government also still try to protect the health conditions for the foreigners and the Vietnamese citizens in Vietnam. So they still limit the type of visa, the purpose. They still limit the purpose of for the foreigner to enter into Vietnam. And at the moment, most time they prioritize to allow the foreigner who are the laborers, who are the expert or the technical workers to enter in Vietnam for working. And so if your visa or your TRC are in the type of business visa or in the type of working visa or investment visa, so you with your TRC, you can enter, you can exit and enter back normally. And because the TRC will replace the visa, the principle matters here that the TRC will replace the visa. So with the TRC, you can enter and exit and enter back. But if you have a TRC symbol TT, which means that you have the relative family visit visa, so it's quite restrictive. It's quite limited for the foreigners who aim to visit the family relative in Vietnam, because the Vietnamese government is just prioritize to just allow the foreigner who is the workers, who is the investor to enter in Vietnam in the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah. Yes. So I missed a little bit of what you mentioned, but general thing is like, if somebody is working in Vietnam normally and just go out for some time for a holiday, so take a break, because people have been locked in here for nearly 2 years. Like, so in this 2 years, if somebody is now going back to their country for a break and then comes back, so that means like his work permit, his resident card, all valid. So that does not mean that it should be invalid after that when they come back. That should continue,
yeah.
No?
It will, if it's still valid, you still can use it. But for the if you want to re-enter Vietnam, you still have to go through two steps.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's a standard procedure for every foreigners coming in or exiting and returning.
So I think that means your TRC is still valid, but I think the question from Fiona, even because I missed a little bit, but why 3-month visa only when they return? Because the valid TRC is still valid.
Yeah, so in this case, if it's not entry visa, it's going to be entry approval letter.
Just entry approval letter. So there is no
Yes.
entry visa for people with TRC. Okay. Now we have another question from Priya. She is asking, like, Indian working for representative company in Vietnam did not have a work permit. Now he is moving to another company in Vietnam itself. What are the documents he needs according to new work permit, new law or whatever, under 105?
Do you want to answer? I answer. Okay, hello, Miss Priya. I think I know who's asking this question.
Yeah, she's a BOG also. Yeah.
Yes. If the representative of a company in Vietnam did not have a work permit, if you are moving to a new company, another company in Vietnam itself, you can apply. If you're going to apply for work permit, you still have to provide the relevant documents to prove that you are qualified for certain position. But in this case, if you work under manager position and that foreigner is name does appear in the company charter or appear in the ERC, Enterprise Registration Certificate, you will not need to provide the bachelor degree or working experience. You only need to provide the company documents and still apply for work permit. So that's one of the position. But if he apply for other positions, he still need to provide relevant qualification, including bachelor degrees and working experience. So if you are the expat does not have an existing work permit, they still have to go through the qualified documents that already enacted in the degree 152.
I think it's a complex situation because I see, other than this thing that you have mentioned, they will also have to have the tax implication of having work without work permit. So they need to solve the taxes also before joining the new job. Yeah.
So if before you're leaving any job, right, or representative of office when returning country, you have to declare and settle all the tax liabilities. So that's very important. You take your salary, you take your income back to home country, or even effect on your in future like re-entry, right? So you have to clear all of that. So we can support you with all that tax declaration, tax settlement. So that's a compliant procedure for foreign employment in Vietnam.
Okay. So I think this deserves to be a private discussion with the consultant. So now we move to the next person, is Sai Rakesh, who is sending that with the current events of pandemic, can we schedule travel plans for the employee who is currently from India to Vietnam?
So with
a new work permit visa who are fully vaccinated. I think this question we kind of partially addressed already, but again, for the clarity, you can mention here.
Sorry, this is what name? Who is asking?
Sai Rakesh, Sai Rakesh. So he is asking, with the current events of pandemic, can we schedule a travel plan for the employee who is currently traveling from India to Vietnam with a new work permit visa and are fully vaccinated? Actually, the question is not very clear, like whether they want that means the employee already here, they have a work permit already, so they want to go to travel to India maybe. I think this question we have answered already. Yeah.
Yes. I just give you some, numbers on the COVID updates, in the major city, right? So if you look at the start of the, the new outbreak, the wave 4 in Vietnam of the COVID with the Delta variant, right? Ho Chi Minh City is probably the epicenter. It's totally around 50% of the. infected people.
Có cho tôi 3 cái trong cũ hôm qua.
But with the current injection, vaccination rate, you see that Ho Chi Minh City, that we calculating based on the population above 18 years old, we already have 75.9% who are fully vaccinated in Ho Chi Minh City. So that's around 4 or 5 million people in Ho Chi Minh City above 18 years old. And if you ask me like whether it's a good time to come in Vietnam, I think it is a good time. And what's a future outbreak? I don't think that's going to be a major outbreak because we see that the vaccination rate are increasing dramatically, and we see, I don't think, unless there's a new variant, we cannot foresee that. But if you intend to work in Vietnam, you already have an existing offer, and you have a legitimate offer and a legitimate employer in Vietnam, I think you should start preparing now, because the processing time may take longer than you think. So I would say plan in advance, 1.5 months or 2 months in advance, so you can proactively prepare all documents and come in Vietnam. So with the resolution 105 right now, we're starting to open up again. So most of the business open up again, and the total infection rate are dropping dramatically. So I think it's a good sign, but at the end of the year, I think the goal is to open up the economy. Yes.
Okay, great. I hope that addresses their concern. Now, there's one more question from Glenn Nguyen. If a person has a current DT3 TRC, if he leaves Vietnam for a few weeks, do you need anything else to come back to Vietnam? Do you need approval letter to return to Vietnam? And there is also the COVID vaccination requirement. All yes, but I think you can answer here.
Yes, correct. So that's all yes, correct. Yeah. So even though if you have like a PRC, it's going to apply the same. Yes.
Okay. So I think we are almost done with all the questions, and that was such a lovely session. And I'm sure, like with the kind of responses, questions that were coming, people really found some value in this. And for any more questions, as both Tim and they have already mentioned, Tim and Paul, that you can always send us through email, and we will try to reply all the queries. And I think I would appreciate, like, you please use their services and give them some business, and they will give you the informations.
Very flattering, Mr. Manor, and we very thank you for your time today. Our team will arrange the email and some of the gift or any. So we will welcome any free advice for our participants today. Our team will send an email. We have a list of registered audience today, and we'll keep in touch shortly. So again, thanks again all for your time today, and stay safe, and see you maybe in the future. Yeah.
So thank you, audience. Stay tuned for another session from some of our members who will be helping us on this B2B basis and giving us more insight into the things that are really useful for our stay in Vietnam. So thank you. Thank you, Viva Consultancy. Thank you, our visitors, our listeners. Thank you. Namaskar. See you soon.
Thank you.
We're opening a new office tomorrow. Please visit us.
Yes, sure. Thank you. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye. Stay safe.
Bye. Thanks.